After several long months of being apart, it's such a joy to be able to open our doors and celebrate together again this coming weekend. So I thought it'd be a good idea to check in and let you know what to expect if you do decide to join us at church. In making your decision about whether or not to join us for Mass at church on the weekends, it's really important to keep in mind that Archbishop Lori is going to continue his dispensation from our Sunday obligation of going to church each week. And there are also some people, as we know, who are more vulnerable or more susceptible to the coronavirus. And we really encourage all of those who might be in that more vulnerable category to stay home. Also, we would really ask that if you have a fever, if you have a high temperature, if you've been coughing, or even if you're just not feeling well, please stay at home. This is not a time to take any chances or to put others at a more vulnerable state. But if you're not in that more vulnerable category and you are feeling well, it'd be awesome to see you at church and to be able to celebrate again the great gift of the Eucharist together. Following the guidelines from the Archdiocese, we're only going to use one door at each church to enter and exit the church. You'll also notice as you arrive that there will be two friendly greeters standing outside a church to welcome you back and to keep account of our numbers so that we don't exceed the 50% capacity or 100 people that we're limited to be in the church at any given time. As you enter the church, you'll notice that the holy water fonts are empty, and the racks where the hymnals normally are won't be here. Those are both precautions to help limit any possibility of spreading germs. Also, during Mass, we won't have our regular collection taken up by the ushers after the prayer of the faithful, so we'll have these two baskets out before and after Mass as a place where you can leave your contribution to the collection. Then, as you walk into the nave of the church, there will be two more greeters to welcome you, to remind you to sanitize your hands and to put your mask on. If you don't have a mask with you, we can provide one for you. In the body of the church, you'll notice that every other pew is marked off with this white ribbon as a way to ensure social distancing so that we can all stay about 6 feet apart from each other, apart from other households, as we come to church to pray. So as you do walk into the nave of the church, we just ask that you find a spot in a pew that's open, that's not blocked off with the white ribbon, and that ensures that you'll have about 6 feet of distance between you and another group of people, between your family and another family. And again, this is just a way to ensure that proper amount of distancing, of spacing, so that we can minimize any opportunity to share germs. As we begin and enter into the celebration of the Eucharist, a few things will be different. For one, we'll all be wearing masks. We'll also, as a recommendation from the CDC and the guidelines from the Archdiocese of Baltimore, we won't be processing in like normal, but rather we'll enter through the side door so as to not come within 6 feet from the congregation. We'll also, unfortunately, not be able to sing together as a community. I know this is going to be tough, but Michael's going to be here and our awesome cantors will be here too, and they'll lead us in song so that their voices will be our voices as we lift up our prayers to our God. Communion time will be different too. In order to ensure that 6 feet is social distancing, we'll be distributing communion one section at a time. So we'll start with the left-hand side, and once everyone on the left-hand side has received communion, then we'll distribute communion on the right-hand side. And as you come up for communion, these markers, the white ribbons on every other pew, will be really important. So as you come up, in order to maintain that distance between you and the person in front and behind you, we're going to ask that you only stand next to a white ribbon so that you not stand next to a pew where people might be seated. So as we come up, you'll stand here and wait until the line moves forward, And then you'll move right away as it does become available to the next spot next to a white ribbon. And we'll continue doing that process, and it might take a little bit longer, but it's going to be okay. And you'll see once you get to the front, there's a table that will be set up here. On this table will be some hand sanitizer for the priest or deacon or whoever is distributing communion. And the table itself will serve as a way to create and maintain that space between the person distributing communion and the person receiving communion. And if by chance, as they're distributing communion, the person who is distributing communion might touch the hand of someone receiving or in any other way be exposed to potential germs, what he'll do or she will do is to place the ciboria with the host down on the table, sanitize her or his hands, and then pick it up and resume distributing communion. Now, I know this is a lot different than what we're used to, and it might take us a little while to get comfortable with it and to really enter into the rhythm of this new way of sharing communion. But it's just another way that we can enter into the mysteries of our God while still maintaining those precautions that are going to keep us safe and limit any possibility for the spread of this virus. So I know that this is a lot, and it's a lot different than what we're used to. And seeing so much of our lives changed, the Mass is one of the last things we think we want to change because it's a source of comfort for us. It's a routine and a rhythm that we're familiar with and that we enter into so as to encounter God, to find peace, to find consolation and hope. So I know that it's not going to be easy to enter into a new way of celebrating the Eucharist and a new way of being together, but it's such a gift that we can gather in person, that we can rely on these prayers to continue to be a source of strength, of comfort, of light, and of hope for us as we continue just celebrating our faith, being the people, the community that God has created us to be, so that we might invite all people to share in this incredible love of God and do so any way that we can, keeping people safe and celebrating the good news of Jesus Christ, because that's why we're here, and that's what we're going to continue to do.